So I ended up missing last night's PLE, but I did catch the highlights of what occurred, and really what stood out to me was the ending of the Fatal 4-Way, because I knew going into that match that Seth Rollins wasn't going to lose that championship, because frankly he just won the fucking thing. Why would he lose it a month? So you knew that, Jay isn't winning, you knew LA Knight wasn't winning, you knew Punk wasn't winning. So how are they going to get the win for Seth once again without it seeming repetitive? Once again with the whole Vision interrupting and interfering the matches, because it seems like every single week now it's a DQ. And we got our answer because Becky Lynch was the, I guess, newest member added to the Vision. Tonight, that was kind of my lingering question, because I was like, how are they going to follow this up after this, I guess, big moment? Because Triple H, he can give you a moment, but he can't really deliver after that. And I kind of wondered what they were going to do here tonight. Thankfully, we got a tremendous segment here with CM Punk and Becky Lynch, because CM Punk called out Seth Rollins. Obviously, he wants some answers from last night. He wants to get his hands on Seth Rollins after last night, and we get Becky Lynch instead, and we get her cutting a passionate promo on CM Punk, saying the fact of, for 10 years he was gone and they kept chanting his name during her matches, during Seth Rollins' matches, and Punk just kind of sat there and took it until he dished it right back to Becky Lynch. Eventually, we see Seth Rollins on the entrance ramp. He is telling Punk to tell this all to him face to face, straight up like a man. And essentially, he's trying to provoke CM Punk, but with Becky Lynch there, she makes it impossible for Punk to go and confront Seth. Eventually, Seth leaves, and then Becky Lynch starts slapping the hell out of CM Punk. CM Punk, obviously, he can't do anything about this, just stands there and takes it. He does mutter the words to Becky Lynch. He said, "I'm gonna make sure your husband feels sorry that he ever cashed in on me, and I'm gonna make sure that you feel sorry that you ever laid your hands on me." And then afterwards, we get a segment with Adam Pearce and CM Punk in the backstage area, where CM Punk just tells Adam Pearce, where is SmackDown this coming Friday night? And SmackDown coincides to be in Chicago, Illinois, and Punk just mutters the words "tremendous." So obviously, how it seems face value is that we're possibly finally, after all this time, going to get an AJ Lee return against Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. That has to be the case, frankly. Anybody else really wouldn't feel as big or as important, because I know they've teased, Rhea and Punk, possibly Bayley and Punk. That's fine and everything, but like, if it isn't AJ Lee, this is probably gonna fall flat on its face, because it just has to be, right? At this point, I am actually expecting them to pull out AJ Lee out of the closet, so to speak, because obviously they have that big WrestlePalooza show that's going to go head to head with one of AEW's pay-per-views. And I know that they're so petty that they want to stick it to AEW that they'll bring out all the big guns. They'll bring out John Cena, Brock Lesnar, AJ Lee, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. They'll bring everybody out for this one event just to fuck everybody over on that side and have all the attention on them. But like I mentioned before previously, if it's not AJ Lee, this kind of falls flat on its face, because they're teasing you and they're hyping you up as if it was going to be for AJ Lee. So I fully expect to see something go down this Friday with AJ Lee and with CM Punk potentially standing tall over both Rollins and Lynch. We also got Dominic Mysterio against AJ Styles for the IC title. Listen, going into this match, I thought that AJ Styles was actually going to win here. Actually had a pretty good chance here. It's in Paris. Obviously, we know AJ Styles is almost a hometown favorite in Paris, given the fact that that's not even his hometown, so to speak. And I fully thought that they were going to give the win to AJ Styles and he was going to be the new IC champion, because it's like with Dominic as the IC champion, I like Dominic and everything, but Dominic really hasn't done much with the IC title. They really haven't had him do much with the IC title, and I know he's going to challenge for the Mega Championship, for Triple A's Mega Championship. So I was like, if he loses here, then it's probably a good likely chance that he's going to win over there. But at the end, we had Americano show up to give the assist to Dominic Mysterio, and Dominic Mysterio gets the win. Obviously, deflating finish, especially in this crowd. Like I said, everybody here was kind of waiting for a title change. but they didn't get it, which was really questionable booking here because it's kind of a no-brainer, really. You know, AJ Styles, one of the top baby faces on Raw, to go over and to win the IC title here in this super red hot crowd of Paris, France. Makes all the sense in the world. And we also got confirmation, the simple confirmation, to be honest. What I suggested a few weeks ago was, you have Io Sky, you have Stephanie Vaquero, why not just give them a title match, both of these women, and we're going to get that match at WrestlePalooza. I'm sticking to my guns here. I believe Io Sky is going to win the championship because, frankly, I feel like Stephanie Vaquero, not that I don't want to see her as the champion one day, because I absolutely believe she's going to be a future world champion, but it's frankly too early for her because she really hasn't done much on the main roster other than win the Evolution Battle Royal, you know, for this #1 contendership. She really hasn't done much, and plus Io is a safe choice at this point. And obviously they're telling the story between Io, Asuka, Rhea, and Kairi, so they can kind of, you know, add the world championship on top of that to add more towards the fire of that whole story that they're telling right now. And lastly, we have also Jimmy Uso officially on Raw, at least I would assume, because we did start off this entire show here with Jey Uso, who wanted to get his hands on the Vision after they took out Roman Reigns at Clash in Paris. That brings out LA Knight. They go back and forth regarding, you know, why they couldn't get on the same page at the very least for a couple minutes to, you know, end Seth Rollins' title reign once and for all. And then eventually this brings out Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. And, you know, this kind of all just feels like deja vu, really, because this really feels exactly week to week how we start off Raw and how we finish off Raw. So we had a tag team match here, and I was really kind of hoping that we did not get another disqualification, you know, schmoz here, because it seems like weekly we just get disqualification schmozes. But eventually we had the team of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed pick up the win here. They attack LA Knight and Jey Uso post-match, and that eventually brings out Jimmy Uso for the save. So Jimmy Uso now, I would assume, is officially on Raw, and possibly we could get that reunion of the Usos against this Vision team, because this Vision team, you know, they need something as far as hype to actually bring them to that level. And post your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of Raw here tonight from Paris. And until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.